King's Castle Ministries is exploding with life as tens of thousands of young people work to evangelize all of the children of their countries. The easiest way to understand King's Castle Ministries is to visualize the program in three broad general categories: local, national, and international. King's Castle Local is our local church where we are constantly working to develop curriculum strategies to be able to consistently replicate children of the Spirit. Our discipleship program is about 30% written materials and 70% carefully guided experiences, which we use not only to minister the baptism of the Holy Spirit with the initial evidence of speaking in tongues, but work with the children to help them activate their spiritual gifts in real-life ministry experiences. We carefully challenge youth to reach the children until the children become the youth and already have it in their spiritual DNA. We call this phenomenon a generational volunteer Pentecostal movement. These child leaders grow up to become youth and adult leaders as well, proving George Barna's research that tomorrow's church leaders are in children's church and Sunday school today. Our discipleship materials have been developed for early childhood: Mini Castle, Castle of Joy, Castle Club, Guardians of the Vision, Basic, Intermediate, and Advanced Warriors, with a special emphasis from pregnancy through every step of a young child's life, from birth to adult life. Also on the local level, missionary Mike Brown has developed the powerful strategy to reach young people from the barrios with a program called Elite Warriors. The concept is to break down a person's physical endurance in order to have them reach a point of openness to build teamwork and dependency on Jesus Christ in their everyday walk. One of our primary focuses on the local level is Prayer in the Prayer Fortress, where we have been praying in El Salvador since October 31st, 1998. Hundreds have been called into the ministry, seen visions, seen angels, been healed, had dreams, and prayed to spiritual victory, been baptized in the Holy Spirit, and experienced God. On October 31st, 2016, we will celebrate 18 years of 24/7 prayer for revival in El Salvador and the nations. King's Castle National is a network of 300 Assemblies of God churches all over El Salvador, working to reach all of the children exponentially. We have about 7,500 Castle team members developing strategies to reach every child in El Salvador with the powerful message of the gospel at least once a year. Exponential works like this. If we have 300 King's Castle teams who go out one weekend per month to do 4 to 5 outreach programs, reaching 1,000 kids, it adds up to reaching 300,000 kids a month. If we multiply 300,000 kids per month for 12 months, we have reached 3,600,000 kids all over El Salvador. Our goal is to reach every child in El Salvador at least one time a year by doing outreaches in public schools, gang-run barrios, soccer fields, parks and playgrounds all over El Salvador. Since there are only 2,300,000 children and adolescents in El Salvador, it gives us lots of leeway as we work together to make Jesus famous to the next generation. These local teams use our discipleship strategies to disciple their own teams as well as new converts. It is amazing how many young people in our program today were actually saved as a small child in a King's Castle outreach program and are serving Jesus in the ministry as older teens and into their 20s and their 30s. Our El Salvador Bible schools are full because many of these child and youth preachers are called into full-time service of the King as pastors, evangelists, teachers, worship leaders, and missionaries after spending their early years doing their evangelism for fun. King's Castle International is currently operating in 29 countries, including North America, Canada, and Mexico. Central America, Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. In the Caribbean, Cuba and the Dominican Republic. In the Andes region, Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, and Bolivia. In the Southern Cone, Paraguay, Uruguay, Argentina, and Brazil. And in Eurasia, Spain, Italy, Romania, and Albania. In Asia, we have India. In Southern Asia, Cambodia. In Africa, Niger and the Equatorial Guinea. And in the South Pacific, we have Tonga. Our vision of Jules includes 91 more countries over the next 10 years, should Jesus tarry. As part of King's Castle International, we are working with feeding centers operating out of local churches in needy areas. We also teach English as a second language to many underprivileged children and young people. A vital part of our international strategies is to host as many AIM, MAPS, and medical teams as we can. We have great needs in El Salvador and in the LAC region, but the primary reason we host teams is to help thousands of young people get a first-hand experience in missions so that hopefully God will call them to serve somewhere around the world as missionaries themselves. Our King's Castle Last Harvest School of Missions is about training young missionaries to go into all the world and to preach the gospel to every child on earth. These young missionaries are trained at our own King's Castle International Training Center in an Assemblies of God Bible School annex. The students study theology as well as developing their learning skills in 6 major areas, including missions training, children's ministries, English as a second language, communication skills, economics and practical business training, and self-sustaining farming methods. Our farm is growing, and we believe that it is a vital part of training our young missionaries, and they will take that to their part of the world, including our tilapia production, Peleboy sheep production, chicken production, dairy production, fruit tree planting, and Vertigrow aquaponics greenhouses. The primary objective we have is to get these young missionaries to the field while they are still young enough to learn the language and the culture of the people they will serve in the nations. We work hard to let thousands of young people experience missions firsthand, either in El Salvador or in one of the countries where we are currently engaged in strategic target evangelism. Would you please join us in prayer, finances, or a missions trip that will be sure to impact your life, as well as the students you bring to El Salvador to experience the Great Commission firsthand? Don and Terry Triplett are overcomers who have faced war, gangs, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, poverty, persecution, and huge financial obstacles. They keep focused on reaching every child on the planet, and God is opening many new doors of opportunity. If you bring a team to El Salvador, your young people will be greatly impacted by their lives of simple faith and giant victories that have rarely been told publicly, but for the glory of God. Don and Terry followed Don's father's advice and discovered what God wanted them to do. And they found a place on earth where God was and is doing something amazing in the hearts of children. And they jumped in the middle of it. For more information on how you can be a part of King's Castle Ministries, contact missionaries Don and Terry Triplett at triplett@kingscastle.org. Also visit their websites www.kingscastle.org and www.kingscastlenews.org.